worship you in spirit and truth and always give you the glory and the honor, Lord. And blessed be your name, the creator of all things. And we're thankful for the love that you have for us, and that you loved us so much that you sent your son, Lord, and that he lived here on this earth, and for the sacrifice on the cross and what it means to each one of us.
Our kids can be dismissed to Children's Church at this time. In case you're visiting today, we've been without a full-time pulpit minister for several months now, and the silver lining of that, of course, is that we've had a wonderful string of guest speakers that we've gotten to hear from. So I kind of compare it to when Johnny Carson used to go on vacation for a while. We get a guest host. So we're happy to have Mr. Max McDougal, is that correct, this morning, from the Moore-Norman area. Be sure and get to know him today after services. But he's going to speak to us. Let's stand and sing before he gets up and speaks to us today. Over all the earth you reign on high, every mountain stream, every sunset sky. But my one request, Lord, my only aim, is that you reign in me again. Lord, reign in me, reign in your power over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So you reign in me again, over every thought, over every word. May my life reflect the beauty of my Lord. You mean more to me than any earthly thing. So you reign in me again, Lord, reign in me, reign in your power over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So you reign in me again, Lord, reign in me, reign in your power over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So won't you reign in me again? Please be seated.
Good morning. Glad to be with you all this morning. Very exciting. Glad I got a call back from Mr. Moore. Very excited to have this opportunity. I am from the Moore area. Recently moved to the Mustang area. Family was tired of Moore after about 15 years of traffic down 19th Street. If you know about that, you know how awful that can be. But more importantly, I was blessed with the opportunity to go to Bear Valley School of Preaching. Got to enjoy that. The downside to that was after graduation, 2020 and 2021, the height of COVID, and didn't get a lot of opportunity to speak to other churches in the area, and now I'm trying to make up and make good on what opportunity I was presented with. So today, as great and happy topic and subjects, the songs that we sang before, we're going to talk about Hosea and how an interesting life he led. Hosea was a prophet in the divided kingdom space in Israel's long history. There was Israel and then Judah. Hosea got the, albeit great opportunity to prophesy to the people. He got the short end of the stick with Israel. He had some contemporaries of his time, namely Micah and Isaiah. They were prophesying to Judah. He got the kingdom of Israel. And I think it's interesting as we go through Hosea, you'll see he has a lot of patience and a lot of kindness towards the situation he is going to be thrust into. So I'll start in Hosea 1 and keep going from there. This is the word of the Lord that came to Hosea, son of Beeri, in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, the kings of Judah, and of Jeroboam, son of Joash, king of Israel. When the Lord first spoke through Hosea, he told him, "Go take a prostitute as your wife and have children of adultery, because the land is flagrantly prostituting itself by departing from the word of the Lord." God goes to Hosea. He said, "I have a problem, Hosea, and you're the man I'm choosing to help rectify that problem. I have a problem with this people. I've blessed this people with this land, and they choose to take the fruits of this land and turn and serve other gods and idols. So like the people, you're going to have a life of example, living example for the people to learn from. You're going to marry a woman that's going to be an unfaithful woman. You're going to have children that may or may not be yours. And through them, you're going to help bring Israel back to know me." Continuing on, so Hosea went and married Gomer, daughter of Diblaim, and conceived and bore him a son. And the Lord said to Hosea, "Name him Jezreel, and soon I will bring bloodshed of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and I will put an end to the kingdom of Israel. And on that day I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel." So Hosea goes and finds a woman, marries Gomer, and the first child that he has with Gomer is going to be named Jezreel. And if you remember, a lot of interesting conflicts happened in and around Jezreel. Some victories, mostly a lot of defeats, a lot of setbacks for the people of Israel as a whole, and especially Israel separated from Judah. It's a sore spot, you could say almost the equivalent of someone today naming their child after a very devastating defeat for the U.S. Militarily wise, as a specific battle. But we see one of three warnings that we will see in chapter 1, and this first warning is bloodshed and upheaval is coming. Gomer again conceived and gave birth to a daughter, and the Lord said to Hosea, "Name her Lo-Ruhamah, for I will no longer have compassion on the house of Israel, that I should ever forgive them. Yet I will have compassion on the house of Judah, and I will save them, not by the bow or the sword or war, not by horses or cavalry, but through the Lord their God." All right, so we see Hosea's second child, a daughter, Lo-Ruhamah. Now, if I didn't pronounce that right, I did my best. But ultimately, this is Israel's strike 2, the northern kingdom's second strike, that will be in and around the people living their lives as a family as well. So these are individuals that a lot of the people probably interact with and kind of wonder interesting name. No longer will there be compassion on Israel. No longer will God's patience be prolonged to them, but they say there is a warning here. You may have not had the continued compassion and patience of God, but Judah has. And we see that God is now telling the people, something's going to happen to you, but it's not going to happen to Judah. After she weaned, lo, Ruhamah, Gomer conceived and gave birth to a son. And the Lord said, name him Lo-Ami, for you are not my people, and I am not your God. The third and final child of Hosea is a son, and it's the exclamation point behind the third strike for the kingdom of Israel. Lo-Ami, I will no longer have you and want you as my people, and I will no longer be your God. That has to be probably one of the scariest sentences in the Old Testament. God ready and willing to turn his back to the people, rightfully so, because they continue to do every sort of bad and deceitful, sinful deed that they can possibly do against God with the blessing that he gave to them. And now God's warning them, there's going to be a time, and it's not going to be a good time. It is not trying to take any reverence from what this is saying. I envision this as the words that you might have heard from a parent or a grandparent. Just wait till your dad gets home. Just wait until the one you fear the most is going to say enough and is going to come and divvy out the appropriate punishment for that. Yet the number of Israelites will be like that of sand of the sea and cannot be measured or counted. And it will happen that in that very place where it was said to them, you are not my people, and they will be called sons of God, of the living God. Then the people of Judah and Israel will gather together, and they will appoint themselves one leader, and will go up out of the land, for the great will of the day will be the day of Jezreel. Interesting verse to end chapter 2 with. God warning the people, you're not going to be my people anymore, but there will be a day where all of you will come back to me through one ruler, through one special person specifically. This, I think, is talking about the eventual coming of Jesus and how the people of that area, a lot will come and follow Jesus and answer his call in the same places that the people once refuted and neglected their duty to serve God. And just a bit of foreshadowing for Hosea as he is prophesying to the people at this time, but also letting the people know at some point someone will come and will deliver you from these atrocities. Picking up in chapter 2. Say to your brothers, my people, and go to your sisters, my loved ones. Rebuke your mother, rebuke her, for she is not my wife, and I am not her husband. Let her remove her adultery from her face and the unfaithfulness from her. So in chapter 2, very interesting, Hosea is pleading with his children, hey, you have to go collect your mom. I don't know where she is or what kinds of trouble or things of that nature she has gotten herself in, but we need to bring her back. And I know a lot of chapter 2 is centered around Hosea and Gomer in this give and take. I'd also like to mention that kind of off to the side, kind of keep in the back of your mind, this is how God is seeing his people at this time and how they've transgressed him, but he's still trying to use people that he has called upon, like Hosea, to help bring them back from their spiritual adultery, if you will, their idolatry to the other foreign gods of this time. Otherwise, I will strip her and expose her like the day of her birth. I will make her like a desert, turn her into a parched land, and I will let her die of thirst. I will have no compassion on her children, because they're the children of adultery, for their mother has played the harlot and has conceived in disgrace. As we continue, Hosea's having a hard time. He is at a point where he's ready to throw his hands up and just bring Gomer back, whether she wants to or not, but in the process, expose all of the misdeeds that she's done to him and family as a whole, and how God is ready to drag Israel back, kicking and screaming, and all their disgraces and shames upon him have all but been aired out in the open. Picking back up in the latter of verse 7, I will go, for she thought, I will go to my lovers and give them who gave me bread and water, wool and linen and oil and drink. Picking up in verse 6, therefore, behold, I will hedge her path with thorns and close her with a wall, so she cannot find her way. She will pursue those she loved, but not catch them. She will seek them, but not find them. Then she will say, I will return to my first husband, for I was better off than now. For she does not acknowledge that it was I who gave her grain, new wine, and oil, who lavished her with silver and gold, which they crafted for Baal. This is a common occurrence for Israel at this time, a occurrence of misusing a gift and blessing of God to give and use to others that don't deserve it and don't see the true value in it. Gomer is trying to live life how she wants, regardless of the commitment that she has made to Hosea, to her family, and ultimately to God. And here, it's interesting. You see the parallel between her and the people. You can go back and try to find them as long as you want, as long as you think it'll take, but you're never quite going to catch back up to them. You're never quite going to get back to what you thought you had. And then you're going to remember, oh wait, you weren't the ones who gave me all of this. It was Hosea. It was God that gave the people all of this, these blessings and these fine things that I have totally misused and destroyed their true value. And by that point, the turning back moment, unlike the prodigal son, it's going to be too little, too late, unfortunately. And in this second half of chapter 2, we'll see why that is. Picking back up, therefore, I will take back my grain in its time, and my new wine in its season. I will take away my wool and linen that were given to cover her, and then I will expose her to the sight of those she loved, and no one will deliver her out of my hands. I will put an end to all her exaltation, her feasts of moons and Sabbaths, and appointed feasts. I will destroy the vines of the fig tree, which she thinks are the wages paid by her lovers. I will make them into a thicket, and the beasts of the field will devour them. I will punish her for the days of the Baals, when she burned incense to them, and she decked herself with rings and jewelries, and went after her lovers. But me she forgot. There it is. That's the point of no return, why she can't find them and go back to the ones she thought had her best interest at heart. They're already gone. They're back worshiping their Baals and idols, and she's left to wander, just like the people. And they wander, and all they're going to find is destruction and desolation in the future days. And they've forgotten who and whose they were. But picking up in the second half, we'll see what God had in store for Israel and the people, what Hosea wanted to ultimately, the life he hoped to have with Gomer, and the life that God hoped to have with Israel as his people. Therefore, behold, I will allure her and lead her to the wilderness. Speak to her tenderly. There I will give back her vineyards. Make the valley of Achor into a gateway of hope. There she will respond, and she did in the days of her youth, as in the day she came up out of Egypt. In that day, declares the Lord, you will call me my husband, and no longer call me my master. For I will remove from her lips the names of the Baals. No longer will their names be invoked. On that day, I will make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field and the birds of the air and the creatures that crawl on the ground. And I will abolish the bow and sword, weapons of war in the land, and I will make them lie down in safety. I will betroth you to me forever. I will betroth you in righteousness and justice, in loving devotion and compassion. Ultimately, this is what God wanted for Israel. This is what God wanted for everyone that would follow after him. He wanted to love them and take care of them like the precious possession to him that they were, and that as Christians today we are. But ultimately they chose not to accept that, not to want that, not to reciprocate the love that God showed them back to God. And ultimately that led to their squandering, and why all this imagery of desolation and despair seems to be looming over the people. This is what all of your spiritual idolatry and spiritual unfaithfulness will get you, especially in the land at this point, to Israel. But there is a silver lining, and that's in chapter 3. Then the Lord said to me, go, show love to your wife again, though she is loved by another and is an adulteress. Love her as the Lord loves the Israelites, though they turn to other gods and offer raisin cakes to idols. So I bought her for 15 shekels of silver, a homer, and a lech of barley. And then I said to her, you must live with me for many days. You must not be promiscuous and belong to another, for I will do the same for you. There's a point of reconciliation where Hosea goes out and rescues Gomer and unites his family once again. Not sure how bad of instances that she has gotten herself into, but it seems as though she was about to be sold on the slavery block at that time, and he had to go rescue her and buy her back so she could be with him. And likewise, in the following verses, for the Israelites must live many days without a king or prince, without sacrifice or sacred pillar, without ephod or idol. And afterward, the people of Israel will turn and seek the Lord their God, and David their king. They will come trembling to the Lord and to his goodness in the last days.